everything is going extremely well.
And now, showtime.
Hey, there we go. On it, back again like tag team every week. It's great to see you guys. Let's roll down some of this stuff over here. So, tariff-proofing your business is what this is all about. The honest truth is that you're going to see a lot of different ways for folks to try to address making your business tariff-proof. And one of the biggest suggestions out there, just raise your prices. Sure, but that doesn't solve the problem. That's just a ramification of, what we're doing, right? So we got to have a bigger strategy. And I want to check in the Disruptor Academy ad account here real quick, just to kind of show you guys what is going on. And so what we're going to talk about today is some custom metrics that you can include inside of your Facebook ad account to know whether or not you're doing a good job and how to plan. Plus, strategically in your business model and planning, how to make it so that you could actually be a better option and improve what's going on. There is obviously improving AOV or just cutting your CPA. Sure. But that is basic bitch level stuff. You're not here because you're looking to see like, well, this is what the experts say. I'm just going to go ahead and do this one cheat code and it'll work for everything. That is like complete nonsense. Okay. So but just as a check-in here, I'm going to go full maximum by week on what we've been doing inside Disruptor Academy ad account, right? We've been talking about this for a long time, and I just want to show here quick second just to have some fun. Now, we started off at 139, and we've been slowly beginning to ramp this thing up more and more. Our CPMs have gone from mid 40s down to the low 20s and high teens. Again, broad retargeting working. We're doing the brand development stuff with Instagram stuff. All this is very important because this is quite literally things that you can do right now to help tariff-proof your business. So I'm showing you all the receipts and then getting behind why it all works. And you take a look at this average cost per purchase is $39, but like, wow, 15, 37, 34, 30, like this is working. Right? I mean, look at the ROAS numbers, sure. And the purchase conversion value, we're obviously selling things that are more than just the 97. Like it's working. Look at this GPT. On average, I make $100 per sale. It costs me $40 to make a sale. That's $104 profit per transaction. All of these things are very important stuff that we're going to get into. Could have sworn I just saw this guy an hour ago. Yes, Sterling. Yeah. Sterling's here. He's in the Disruptor School Inner Circle. And we just had our Inner Circle call. By the way, if you want to get into Disruptor School stuff, right there is the QR code for the Academy. It's also in the description of this video, so you can go ahead and check that stuff out. Now, we have the AOVs is kind of all over the place. Profit volume, how much money are we actually making so far directly off the ad account alone? This is 19,000, which is great. This is 98 school purchases. Not every purchase in this ad account is a school purchase. This is a custom conversion event. We're going to break down everything that you need to know here today to tariff-proof your meta ad account. And yeah, it's kind of terror, right? I mean, it sucks when the United States government has turned the stock market into a meme coin and just nobody really gives a shit about what's going on. All that to be said, I'm here to help. We're going to make this work for you, okay? So we're going to break down a couple really big principles today. And if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We are going to try to address all the stuff in the chat. And before we get started with anything else, one thing that I do want to mention, just because like I'd be absolutely remiss if I didn't. Okay, so forgive me, shameless plug here real quick. This Sunday at 1:30 p.m., we're doing another live launch party, How to Earn Six Figures as a Media Buyer in 2025. We're going to be giving away free passes, annual passes to Disruptor Academy. We're going to be doing nearly $500 in gift cards plus a whole bunch of merch. We're going to give away a couple $1,000s worth of stuff. And the way that you do this is you show up live during the thing. It's at 1:30 Pacific Standard Time on here on YouTube, and you join the top chat. You join right here, and you can jump in. Okay, that is how it works. All right, we do that every video launch. This one is literally step by step everything that I did to pay myself $1 million last year. What you need to know, and so that you get an idea. Like, this is the chapter listing. Okay, like, do you need a college degree? Stages of it. We have a chat GPT that'll bring you through a personality quiz and test that's about 20 questions long or so to let you know what your best field and path and structure and like creative progress through the media buying world is, and like analytical thinking, strategy, technical proficiency, the kinds of things that you need to know, who you can learn from for free. We give shout outs to folks like Sarah Levinger and Barry Hott. We say wonderful things about Taylor Holiday and Andrew Ferris and Iman Ghazi. We get into folks like Rabah Rahil and Dylan Ander and Dan Pantello. We get stuff from every one of them. They're all in here. We get the specialization. We get into understanding about how to do billing and creating wealth, networking, and professional development. This video is going to be incredible. Okay. That all being said, let's get to the juice. All right. I got to put this phone up here because I'm just going to be wildly distracting. All right. Awesome. So there's a couple things in here that I really want to point out, and some immediate things that we can look at and how we're going to tariff-proof your business, okay? Now, the first thing that I want to cover in this is that if your brand is a commodity, there's no reason for somebody to care. So the first thing I want to point out here, this is obviously our 4PI analysis right here, right? If you're not looking at your ad account in a 4PI, what are you doing? Like, you're not looking at any information that's doable. My dude, what's up? Okay. By the way, if you're in the chat, let me know where you're watching from. It's lovely to see all the people from around the world. All right. So what you see here in this CPMs going up and then just dropping like a rock. This is the effort that we've been talking about regarding brand plays, right? Oh, Mike Webster from Calgary, Canada. Bonjour. Okay. This is the brand play stuff, the brand development stuff that we've been talking about on this channel for a long time now. The Instagram promotion stuff. Now, you're going to see some folks on things like the operators and other things trying to get close and guessing into how to do this. And I think the best example of a close but not quite that I've been seeing is people being like, well, I'm just going to run, video view campaigns and retarget the viewers. Like, okay, but people that view your videos have no level of intent or sentiment. Do they like your content? And we all know that hook rate and actual money in your bank account are completely unrelated metrics, right? And if anybody has a difference of opinion on that, I'd love to hear you. But those are how well you are at getting the attention of somebody that will never buy from you does not add money into your bank account. That's just makes no sense. But anyway, there we go. So the first thing here is, if you see the CPM, this is talking about how much it actually costs to get to somebody. Now, here's the first hack that I'm going to show you. The first thing that we want to do is go into here and just type in 1. And you're going to see this cost per 1,000 account centers reached. All right. Now we're going to slide this up right next to CPM. All right. Now this is your actual unique CPM. How much does it actually cost to reach 1,000 people? Your actual CPM times your frequency brings you your actual unique CPM. And if you notice this, while our ad spend is climbing up 480, 540, 550, 700, 800, and in 3 days, we've already, this is going to wildly outpace this. And again, I spend 1% of my MRR on ads, and to just be as transparent as possible because I love you guys and I don't want you to feel like I'm lying. This is school right now. This is Disruptor Academy. 13,624. This has been running for a little over 60 days. Went from 0 to 13,000 in 60 days. That's what we're doing here, okay? So let's get back to this. All right. Now, You see this frequency is kind of pegged. It's getting a little bit lower as the CPM, but this is the number that actually matters. Okay. So how do we get to here? How does this actually help? How do we help improve the CPMs of our business to tariff proof our brand? This is where we are going in and creating content and specifically figuring out a brand identity. What do you stand for? What do you want somebody to think about your business? Here's the question I want you to ask yourself. When you go to like the bowling alley or the movie theater or wherever, and you're like, yeah, I'd like a Coke. And they're like, oh, we have Pepsi. You immediately feel a certain way. Now that's great because at least you have an opinion on Pepsi and Coke. And if they were like, well, yeah, we've got soda, and they bring you some like weird knockoff, whatever. The point is, make somebody care about your business. Make somebody care about your brand. And the easiest way to do that is to start promoting your organic content. Now, full disclosure, if we go to here to Instagram, let me just get rid of this because this is going to be crazy. I promote every single piece of organic content that comes out on my Instagram. Okay. And you can see we are updating. It looks like we're a little behind. Blake, we got to update this. But we are promoting every single piece of organic content that comes out. Now we're doing that not just because we, want to get views or whatever, but because we're understanding what actually gets somebody to want to follow the account. We are cost averaging our cost per follow down and then isolating those pieces moving forward. And to be fair, we covered that in here in absolute depth on our YouTube channel here. How to crush Facebook ads with a low budget. This video that came out 11 days ago, number one video in the channel so far. This video explains this in extreme detail. So I'm not going to cover it here, right? Go to the Disruptor Academy YouTube account. Watch the videos. If you like them, subscribe. Hit the like button. If you have questions, ask them. Right. And if you feel like I could help you make an extra $4 a day, then join Disruptor Academy. The QR code's right there. There's a link right below that. There's a link on all the videos. It's $97 a month, 7-day free trial, money back guarantee. Like, if I can't help you make an extra $4 a day, then cancel. But like, if I can, then like, why not join? Right? Like, it's just dumb to not make more money and work less and have a way more sense. But the point is, this is the impact of doing that stuff right. Look at this. Dom's been knocking them out. Look at that. From 45-50 to 23 to 20, from 20 to 20, 20 to 30, right? Like, that's what he's seeing. And like, this stuff is things that you can do. I guess that's him talking about me. So fair enough. This is one of the easiest ways that you can game that. Now, why does that matter for tariff-proofing your meta ads? It's because you need to build a better business. And what really matters is so many people make the mistake of thinking that their competition is the 3 or 4 other big brands doing what they do. I'm here to tell you that that is not your competition. Your actual real competition was what's really hurting you is the 500 or 1,000 other brands, advertisers that are willing to spend a couple $100 a day to maybe make their business work, that haven't quite figured it out, that are going to go out of business. There's probably $1 million out there on a daily basis from the rest of the world of brands trying to make sales of people that are in your market. And out of that $1 million, if they make 1,000 sales, none of those brands are going to stick around. They might not be in business tomorrow, but that's 1,000 sales, none of which are yours. Your biggest competition, and one of the things that I want to talk to you about here initially, is that the macroeconomic issues of Trump making the stock market a meme coin and just destroying the economy of the United States and the world as a result, is that low integrity players are going to struggle more and more, which is an opportunity for you to earn the attention of higher quality people. Remember that it's not just ad for ad out there in the world. One of the reasons that the CPMs go down as this budget goes up is because the machine is seeing me as a higher and higher quality partner to the machine. I'm getting more and more premium inventory for a lower and lower price. I'm being shown on the phones and on the laptops and TV screens of the people that want to see my stuff, that are in market. And the machine is saying, well, there's a whole bunch of these low integrity folks that are doing cost caps and launching 1,000 ads and just turning things on and off with high bounce rates where we have no data on what anybody likes. And then there's this guy that's been running the same ads for months. And well, we know exactly how people are going to appreciate it. And not only that, but they like it. The conversion rates, their time on site, like all of those things are getting better. Look at this. Not only is this getting better, but we're seeing 50, like we're seeing 51, 48, 78, 107, and then it's in the 30s. Like I'm getting more efficient as I'm scaling because my content is being shown more and more often to better and better people. And it's not that I'm launching 1,000 new ads all the time. I legitimately, I don't think I've launched an ad in well over a week. And my number one ad is one that I launched in February. And I have really no intention of getting rid of that ad. I mean, that ad alone, if we just look at like the number one best ad that I have here, it's $1,800 out of everything. And it's just, that ad is, look at these CPMs, right? Cost per purchase. Like this is doing great. Like this ad is crushing. Like I don't need to redo this. And this has been running in this ad set for over a month. And before that, it was running someplace else. The point is, the first thing for you to tariff-proof your business is build an identity. And that whole other video on how to crush Facebook ads on a small budget dives way more into it. But this is how you acquire higher quality inventory for a lower price. So instead of you competing with everybody else trying to make the sale right now, the machine sees you as a higher quality business partner. So you're accessing higher quality inventory. You're basically getting shown to better people more often for a lower price, right? Like as I'm scaling this up, my CPMs went down, my frequency went down a little bit or whatever, but like I'm basically on a weekly basis showing somebody an ad at least twice a week. But my CPM is more or less the same. My unique CPM is going up a little bit, but like this is a clear sign right here. When you look at a 4PI analysis, this is why this is valuable. And if you're not looking at a 4PI, like I legitimately don't know how you're going to be able to manage your ads. I mean, I do know because I've done it, but like you're running blind. This is a great way of seeing like, oh, I'm reaching better and better people. And it's not costing me more money, but I'm reaching them more often. And like I am accessing better quality inventory for a lower price. That's the first thing that you need to do. Stop trying to make every single thing a buy. The people that are telling you to launch 1,000 ads to make the sales based on CPA alone have no idea how to actually be a better business partner to Facebook. They are COVID era marketers or ad agencies trying to sell you creative. I haven't seen a single person in that space be someone who's been around since the last time this clown was in office and destroyed the economy. Like they've only been around when everything was easy. So, number one, brand development. Number two, I want you to start really paying attention to GPT. Now, this ad account isn't necessarily the best example, but what we're going to do here, let's go to customize columns. I want to show you this metric, okay? This is gross profit per transaction. Now, this is purchase conversion value divided by purchases. You can also, if you're coming in here to edit this and make one for yourself, you could say that it's average order, average purchase value order, something. It's a weird number, but it's in there already. You can just type in, I think, average, and it's the first thing that comes up. But this tells you how much money do you make per transaction. And now there's a reason for that to be real. There's a reason that is really, really important. And Jesus, I see your question here, and that is actually a misquote from somebody that was looking for very self-seeking information based off of leading somebody that didn't quite know what they were talking about. We'll get to that here in a little bit. I really appreciate that you brought that up, Jesus. We'll throw it on the screen here, Jesus. We'll throw it on the screen here in just a minute. Jesus asked a great question, and I'm not saying those words weren't said. I'm just saying that The definition of success, the scenario, it is a leading question with a disingenuous response by somebody who defines success differently than you should, being let out into the world by somebody with a business agenda that isn't your success. That's what I'll say. Okay. So GPT, why this is important. It's AOV minus CPA. Here's the example I want to give you. You could have an ad, you could have a campaign with an average order value of $50 and a CPA target, a blended CPA of 25. Now, let's say you make 100 sales and 50 of them go to an ad that costs you $24 to make a sale and has an AOV of $40. The other 50 sales go to an ad that costs $26 to make a sale. That's your 25. And it has an AOV of $60 because maybe you have a $40 offer with a 20% upsell, $20 upsell. So half of your ads are $24 at a 40. Half of your ads are $26 at a 60. When you look at your campaign, you're going to be like, wow, some of my ads are like more expensive than the others. I'm just going to cost, if you're running on cost caps or looking at ASC, specifically looking at CPA as a way to improve your business, you're going to cut out the ad that makes you substantially more money. The GPT inside the dashboard for free will tell you that the ad that runs at a $24 CPA and a $40 AOV, that is an ad with a $16 GPT. Your ad that runs at a $26 CPA and a $60 AOV, that ad has a $34 GPT. So the difference between those two is substantial. 40 minus 24 is 16. 60 minus 26 is 34. The reason this really matters, the reason this is something you should really be taking into account, is that one of those ads, if you're just looking at day one profitability, makes you over twice as much money per sale right away. That is astounding. Now, if we were to take a look at that on a CPA basis, we would say, well, just cut the ad that's at a 26, you can get more efficient. But if we look at a GPT basis, well, maybe we should cut the ad that's at 24. Now, that being said, it doesn't mean that ad that's at 24 or the folks that don't take the upsell is necessarily the worst thing. But the point is, for you to tariff-proof your business, you need to begin to understand what is the actual value of the current transactions that you're buying. Because that really, really matters. Now, that to be said, if you just begin to focus on the offers and the ads that bring you a higher AOV, because here's the thing, also understand that people aren't necessarily just buying the product that you're selling when they buy, right? It is extraordinarily common for somebody to see an ad for a product and buy something else. I have a business that I'm dealing with right now, a wallet business that many of you know. And they're trying to launch luggage and cell phone cases are on the menu and other things. We launched some cell phone case ads. The cell phone case, let's just put it politely, is a sub $100 item, even with the upsells. The AOV on that cell phone case ad is around $120. So we're like, wow, these people must be buying a whole bunch of things. And we look at it and nobody is. So what we did there is we put in some custom conversion events to understand what they were buying. So we understood why the AOVs were different. And ultimately we found out was People were clicking on the cell phone case ad, going to the website, and then, they kept buying the hero product. The only problem is all the 4PI metrics said that the cell phone case ad that ultimately was just selling the hero product did it worse than the hero product did. And as it ran, the hero product campaign got worse. Now, the reason this really matters for you to tariff-proof your business brings us to point number 3, which is understanding your custom conversion events so that you can really track what's happening. So here, if you notice, it's a school purchase. This is free, okay? If you go to your events manager, oh, come on, don't make me do that. All right, are you going to make me do that? Really? Come on. Don't do it. Don't do it. It might make me do something that will get in the way. Let's see. Come on. Come on. Fingers crossed. Yeah, there we go. All right, cool. Custom conversions. Now, if you want to create a custom conversion, there's no harm to say you could go to event, purchase, and event parameters. Let's say content IDs contains something. Now, if you were to choose that, you could say, oh, wow, these are all the content IDs of a product in the luggage category or the wallet category or the cell phone case category. And you can find those all differently. So, for instance, I have one here where it says the URL contains school where the purchase happens. That's how I know it's a school purchase. If somebody goes to disruptorschool.com and buys a masterclass, these are all the content IDs for masterclass products. The point here is I'm actually tracking all of these as individual items so that I can understand what somebody is buying. Now, why that really matters, if we go back to the ads manager here real quick. If I were to take a look, let's just go school. We're going to just take this one right here. Filter by row selection. Thank you. Okay. I have a $39 cost per purchase. I have a $74 cost per school purchase. Now, what that tells you is that not all purchases are school purchases. Some people are buying other things. In fact, half of the purchases that this campaign makes isn't for what the campaign is optimized for, which, totally happens. As a matter of fact, if you did the due diligence of looking into your ad account, you could see, if I were to break this out by all the different product types and all the different categories, you would see a dramatic spread of all the items. Now, why this matters for you is if you were to go look at the ads that were far better at driving the sale that you want. And in fact, let me show you how to do this. Let me see if I can get the custom thing in here. This is ad account by ad account. So you may or may not be able to do this. Okay, here we go. School purchase divided by purchase. Awesome. We're going to make this a percentage. And we're going to go school percent of sales. All right, let's go ahead and just make this available for everyone. Create metric. Now we have a rate. Let's just go ahead and add this in. All right, custom, boom. Let's drop it at the very end. 55% of sales are in the school. Now, if I were to go to this, and it's going to crap out on me because of the week, but we'll just do this. Let's just go to the 4 ads that we're running here. If you notice, this one is 100%. This one is 80. This one is 60%. So 1/3 of people that see the hero ad are buying something that isn't the hero product. Now, if you want to tariff-proof your business, understand which ads are selling what. And because that is so important, that's so important for many reasons. And I want to get into that here real quick. But I'm just going to leave this up real quick again, just so you can see how we did this, okay? So you can understand your custom conversion event versus your overall conversion event to understand the percentage of sales and where they're all going by category. Because this brings us to point number 4. All right. First one being brand development. Second one being look at your GPT to understand the value of the money that you're spending and what you're getting in return. Third one being begin to track this is how effective are you at getting that job done? Now, the fourth thing, hold on a sec. Okay. The fourth thing is understand that one of the most predictable behaviors in any business, D2C, e-commerce, retail, lead gen, restaurants, whatever, is the customer journey based off the initial transaction. And so the example I want to give you here is that you could go to a steakhouse and order the fish and chips, and it sucks. The odds of you going back to that steakhouse aren't great. But if you go to that steakhouse and order the filet and it's amazing, and because that's what they do, because it's a steakhouse, the odds of you going back to that restaurant are very high. You could say the second purchase rate, the likelihood of you ever going back to that place to buy a second time off the fish and chips is 0. Let's just be hyperbolic and say that's the case. You could also say that the second purchase rate of the filet mignon is 50%. If you want to start tariff-proofing your business, you have to start selling the products that are most likely to get people to buy a second time. Now, you can go to your Shopify or your WooCommerce, your receipts, and however you're doing business, and sort them simply like this. You could do this in, again, ChatGPT or Excel or whatever. The simplest way of doing this is simply to say, here are all the customers that I have. This is whether they were new or returning and what they bought. Awesome. When somebody was a new customer, what did they buy? And what really is important here is you could just basically have all the products that somebody could buy and how many purchases was somebody buying that product when they were a new customer. Okay? That's the first thing. Then you could say, of all of the customers where that was the first purchase, how many of them bought a second time? And that's a straight easy number, right? Like you can do that as a pivot table. You could do that in ChatGPT. And really what you want to do is understand what product most often leads to second purchases. So going back to our example before of the $40 item and the people that take the upsell, what if when somebody takes the upsell, they never buy again? But when somebody doesn't take the upsell, they buy every month for a year. Well, now that difference in GPT pales in comparison to the cash flow. Would you rather pay $2 more to make a few more bucks on the sale today, or pay $2 less to get somebody to buy 11 more times? Now, to be fair, that's probably, I'm giving very hyperbolic examples here. That's probably not the case of how it'll pan out. But these are the things you need to start looking at. So my point to that is that if you want to tariff-proof your business, you got to be focused on buying customers, not making sales. If you can understand what products you sell best lead to future transactions, and then more importantly, what ads you have and how effective each ad is at driving a sale versus of that product that most heavily indexes to repeat purchases, you're going to say, why am I promoting 5 different products? One of them is the lowest cost per purchase. One of them, I've got 4 or 5 different things I'm trying to sell. I'm going to tell you that most of those are complete wastes of time. If you want to tariff proof your business, you need to focus on 3 kinds of products. Now, the first one here, 3 campaigns. The first one here is what we're talking about when it comes to cash flow, right? One of the easiest ways to avoid tariffs being an issue is getting a product that more incentivizes people to buy a second time. Why? Because the first transaction is the most expensive. If a tariff raises your product cost of goods by 25%, but you go from 0% of your sales being repeat buyers to 30% of your sales being repeat buyers, and the fact that you're now no longer paying for those additional transactions, or they are far suppressed in their CPA, you've overcome the issue of the tariff raising your cost of goods because you've reduced the amount of transactions that you need to pay first transaction money to acquire. That's massive. These are the things that I need you to start thinking about. Now, the other 2 campaigns that you could be running, one would be, what's going to get me the highest volume of transactions? Now, if I can get the highest volume of transactions at the lowest price with my paid media, that's ultimately bringing down my blended CPA. Some of those are going to be new, some are going to be returning. That's totally fine. What I'm doing is just improving the volume of transactions. The more transactions you get, the lower the amount of profitability you need on any one of them. If you make $5 profit on 100 sales, you make $500 profit. If you make $1 profit on 1,000 sales, you make $1,000 profit. If you double the sales volume, if you 10x the sales volume, you could cut the profitability by 80% and you still make twice as much money. One of the easiest ways to tariff proof your business is the fact that you can overcome objections, you can overcome issues of efficiency by just getting more transactions in your business. So we've optimized for more future cash flow. We're buying customers instead of selling products. So we've immediately eliminated cost controls as like a legitimate function for the majority of our budget, right? And if somebody's telling you cost controls is the way, I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm just saying that that's a business that probably won't be in business next year. But if you focus on getting more and more of the purchases that happen in your business to be from repeat buyers, because the product that you're selling is one that's more likely to get somebody to want to buy from you again, you've immediately overcome so many issues in the business. And then if you begin to take a look at it, is not my cost per any individual sale. I'm not trying to cost control on the platform at the most expensive transaction, anything I can to make a profit today on any product, because I'm actually trying to buy the most valuable customers. And one of the reasons for that is because repeat buyers suppresses my blended CPA. What if I also work on a specific campaign to bring me more transactions at a lower price, which will also help mitigate the rise in the blended CPA as I scale my business? Well, then do that. And that could be products for those, that could be individual ads for all your products, or it could be like catalog ads. Then the third issue you have is just, what if I could make a much higher GPT? And so that's where we get into higher value offers. If your LTV in the business is $100, the first thing I want you to do is build $120 offer. Add a $30 gift card and give that gift card away for free. And that way you can say that you're marking that product, that item down by whatever percentage that is. I'm trying to do it in my head, but we're just not there today. What is that? 150, 120 divided by 150. That is a 20% off. 20% off and a free gift card. If you make one sale, that user is 20% more valuable than any other customer you have. And you've given them a gift card, which maybe it's only valid on purchases over $75. And if somebody uses it on a $75 purchase, now you've raised your LTV by 50%, at least, because it was 100. Then we got them to spend 120. And then the gap between, if they use a $30 gift card and a $75 purchase, you make $45 right there. Boom. Now their LTV is $165. You've increased LTV by 65%. And fun fact, price-conscious buyers are far less brand loyal. So if you can sell things to people at a higher AOV and sell them more items, it's not just raising the price of the item. It's about buying a better customer. Everybody's talking about just raise your prices, raise your prices. Sure, that doesn't solve the problem. Make a better value offer. That solves the problem. Don't sell me one knife that's good. Sell me an entire kit. Then instead of choosing $19.99, maybe, and make it 3 easy payments of $29.99, and you have Ginsu knives. I can't turn that offer down. It's too good. Now, we talked last week about the construction of a Mother's Day offer that you could run. And why that does so well. But the point here is you could have a specific campaign specifically to wildly inflate your GPT. So this is tariff-proofing your business by making the average transaction more valuable. So if you're playing along in the home game, you understand we now have 3 campaigns. A campaign designed to acquire the most new customers that are likely to buy a second and a third time. You're buying cash flow. Second campaign suppresses the blended CPA by giving you a higher and higher volume of transactions. Third campaign improves your GPT, so you're making more and more money per transaction. Now, I'll be honest. You only need one of these to get to a 7-figure business. You only need 2 of these to get to an 8-figure business. And odds are you are not in a situation where you have the luxury of having the problem to need to solve all 3 of these. Now, if that's the case, mazel tov to you. You're probably doing at least like $1 million a month, if not 2. Like, great. You're in a 20 to 40, $50 million business. If you're not, then do not focus on trying to do all 3 of these. Pick one. And if you're promoting 3 or 4 different offers, critically right now, pick one of those goals. And then you look at those 4 offers, 5 offers that you're running. One of them is the best at that goal. The other 4 are liabilities to your success. So what we're talking about here is how to build a better business. If you want to tariff-proof your meta ads and you want to scale, this is the way it works. Now, the beauty of this is I would tremendously suggest that you do everything you can to acquire as many customers who are likely to buy more than once. That way you don't live and die by your ability to make a sale every single day. Otherwise, you're a salesperson. Oh, I have my own brand. I'm doing all my own stuff. You're a salesperson for a Chinese factory, doing a whole ton of work to be an affiliate marketer for like a factory. You're not buying any customers. You're just working really, really hard to never be able to take a break. That sucks. And if you're like, well, I have a single product store and nobody ever needs to buy a second time, and like, how does this apply to me? Number one way it applies to you: fix the problem of your store. Your business sucks. You don't have a business, you have a product, and you are a salesperson for the whoever makes that product. Hard truth. Love it right here. Boom. Facts. Damn straight. And unfortunately, we do exist in a space where so many of the most vocal and visible forward thinkers are folks that tell you just get better and better at being a salesperson for somebody else. That's the way to make a business. And we've seen Meta Andromeda being popular and people really leaning into that to say like, wow, okay, now we might not necessarily, we're going to change our practice. And unfortunately, we're seeing the rise of AI making the creation of ads so easy, plus API access to launching 100 different ads anytime you want to, and cost controls and all this other stuff with Meta Andromeda being an excuse to do the bad thing at a much larger scale, because now you can afford to suck and do way more work. You can suck, but at a level you've never sucked before and still get the same performance. Or you could just say, that means I don't have to run a bunch of ads. I could actually launch a lot less and just get better and better and better results, because now I have one singular goal. And at the end of the day, whichever of these campaigns you decide to run, you have one business problem. How do you raise your budget on Facebook? If you look at your entire business operation through the lens of how do I spend more money on Facebook, knowing that Facebook is the volume knob to the rest of your business. Okay? Facebook is a very stable, very easy to control, extraordinarily trustworthy, and just projectable volume knob for your business. And if that's not the way you feel about Facebook, it's because your architecture and the way you've been taught to run ads and like how you're structuring things, just it is not set up to use it in the way that it was designed to be used. And I will get to Jesus's comment here, because I did see Jordan and a bunch of other like just folks that the rest of us know are kind of full of it, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. We will get to that here in a minute, Jesus, okay? But here's the thing. Can I spend more? And if the answer is yes, add budget. If the answer is yes, don't launch new ads. Why would you, if you know the only question you need to answer is can I spend more money, and you've solved that problem, what sense in the world does it make to then destabilize the solution to that problem? Yes, it is. I do think the Q&A today is going to be crazy. We have a live call in Disruptor Academy right down there in 90 minutes where everybody gets to ask me questions. We're going to go fucking ham. Thank you so much, David. I really, really appreciate it. What sense does it make to work harder to make success more difficult? You have to think to yourself, who are the people saying things like what Jesus is saying? Meta saying you should test an ABO and scale an ASC specifically highlights the value of creative testing campaign once you take. I'll say this. That was their response to somebody that does not look at this the way that we're talking about it. That is the response of a performance marketer who runs an ad agency trying to justify strategies to test as much creative as possible. Getting a response from the platform on how to do that job most effectively in a way that meets the way that they already do things. My response to this is why? Why would I run ads in an ABO? Well, because I want to make sure they get spent. Why? If you have to force it to get spent at a out of context budget and see if it works, so then you can put it into your scaling campaign. What you're doing is you're creative testing to see what you want to creative test. because your test doesn't actually start until it goes into your quote unquote scaling campaign. And all of this is a process to then throw all of your ads into an ASC, which again is not a bad tool. I just made a video that went live this week on this channel talking about ASC and how it's a really great thing. And I think it's a really great tool for a lot of people to use. The problem is it creates ad fatigue. It creates instability. It's training wheels. At some point, you want to be able to do more than that. Now, it's training wheels. It's also like an automatic transmission on a car. I don't have a manual stick shift in my Volkswagen bus. I don't want one. I'm not trying to be a great driver. I just want to be able to get from X to Z. In your ads, if you don't want to get better, you just want the job to get done so that you know, like, look, I'm spending money. Results are good enough. I'm going to worry about other things. Awesome. Use ASC. If you're a performance marketer trying not to get fired, use it. If you're a content creator trying to make sales, use it. Totally fine. But eventually, if you want to grow your business, you cannot look at it like a performance marketer trying not to get fired. You have to commit to using the machine in the way it was designed to be used, which is simple data and science. And there's a reason why none of those people will ever talk to me in public. I love it. There we go, David. Yes. Are you in the academy, David? If not, join our call on Sunday and see if we can get you in for free. If you are, hey, still join it anyway. There's a reason that these people will never talk to me in public. And there's a reason why there's this very active, hate group amongst all these individuals that think that I'm a crazy person and that hate me and that say, well, you just keep talking smack about everybody. I say wonderful things about a lot of people. I also said, on the video that's going live on Sunday, I say very great things about Taylor Holiday and Andrew Ferris and Iman Gadzhi and Sarah Levinger and Dylan Ander and Barry High. I say great things about those people because they are very good at what they do. But for instance, Taylor Holiday is not great at running ads. He's objectively years behind, but that's not his job. He runs an ad agency. An ad agency is a bank. You give me money, I make a percentage of interest on managing it for you. And then I try to give it back to you with a return. It's a bank. He's very good at operating a business. And I give him wonderful amounts of credit and due love for that because he's exceptionally good at it. I mean, look, all things considered, Common Thread was a lot larger many years ago, and he probably should have taken a big check. And he is changing his business model often and struggling to keep good talent. And there are a lot of people that have worked for him for years that will never make upward mobility because they don't look and sound the right part. And I think there's a big integrity issue there, but he's built it. The point is, when you see people talking about advice that goes against the idea of how do I grow my business, when they say things like ROAS, when they prioritize creative testing, when their number one way of improving things is to destabilize the front end of the business. I get it. There could be a better ad. I get it. There could be something that does the job more effectively or something that's sexier or whatever else. But do you need it? If the answer is no, then it doesn't have any value to you. If you can raise your budget today on your ads, why are you going to launch a creative test? If your repeat purchases, if the volume of money that you make on a monthly basis from repeat buyers continues to grow, why are you trying to promote new offers? You already figured out the business. Going back to Disruptor Academy, just to show this out, okay? And I have a call here, Friday Live, and then the calendar. We're going to be talking again in 3 minutes. By the way, this is all the stuff you get in Disruptor Academy. I mean, it's massive. You should really check it out. Again, 7-day free trial. Go ahead and join it. I guarantee you we'll be able to solve your problems or your money back. And like if you're using Hyros, cancel them. If you have an agency, fire them. Like if you're spending thousands of dollars a year to hire other people to not care about you and to take advantage of you, you could just get rid of it. You could just bail on that predatory relationship and instead join what we're doing here. Now, I spend 1% of this reoccurring revenue on a daily basis for my ads. As a matter of fact, it's probably not even up to date because I got more money coming in. But if we look at this, let's see. What is my daily budget right now? 133, because this was 133. Now it's $600 more. The point is, I'm only spending the money from my reoccurring revenue to get more people who are likely to be repeat cash flow buyers into a business that grows. And yes, I do sell consulting calls. We have the Inner Circle. We have the MBA program. We have the ad agency where, like, if you want me to run your ads, we can do that. This is a lead gen to that experience. But it also pays for itself in days. That is a no-brainer business. Why, if I can add more money to this, would I ever change the ads I have? And I'll put it this way. I also want to show one other thing because I did this. Okay. I ran a cost cap here alongside of it in the way you should run cost caps. Okay. Man, I'm going to get in trouble. We're going to have to get out of here real quick. All right. So here's the thing. I ran this breakdown by week. Okay. Now, this looked great. I got a 15x ROAS on my cost caps. My unique CPM, 101 versus 128. Got it. Let's go last 30 days because let's get more equal data, okay? Last 30 days, it's actually 101 to 77. 15x to 4. Right? Why would I possibly get rid of this? After $300, why did I say, like, this is terrible? And I don't think we're going to have time to pull this up today, which sucks. Because it's just not loading, but whatever. Here's why. When this thing did well, this thing got worse. But not good enough to justify how much worse this got. This was never effective enough to justify the damage it did. It also gave me short-term results. So then I defeated a lot more ads, and I also put them in the other campaign. And I destabilized the entire account for weeks. It took me 2 or 3 weeks to get out of the hole that running cost caps did, when all I had to do was just add more budget to the thing that I ran. But I'm doing these things. I'm not just preaching from a place of I know everything. Take my word for it. Like, I am testing all this stuff and I'm clocking it out. And I wish I could show you all today, but it's not loading up and running out of time. So we'll do it next week. Anyway, that being said, everybody, I appreciate you. I love you. Until next time, I'll see you on the internet. Okay. Join our live thing on Sunday. We're giving away thousands, and join Disruptor Academy. What do I got to do? Just come on in. The water's warm. You're going to be really happy. Here it is right there.